This is the story of the ugly little Fiasco. Once upon a time, deep inside an enchanted wood, lived a little pheasant. This was not just any pheasant. No, sir. His feathers were dull as dishwater. They were as grey as a stormy sky, and they were as lifeless as last week's lettuce. So this poor little pheasant had no other choice but to be teased and mocked by all the other animals in the forest. It all started one sunny afternoon when the forest animals were having their weekly picnic. Every week without fail, they would all meet up under the whispering willow tree and share food, stories, and gossip. But this particular week, there was lots of juicy gossip going around, especially about our dear little pheasant. Did you see how grey his feathers are? Looks like a big fat glob of tar stuck to him upside down, snickered Sammy Squirrel. I think he rolled around in a barrel of ink, giggled Gabby Goldfinch, flapping her wings with laughter. The poor little pheasant hung his head in shame. Why couldn't his feathers be as bright and beautiful as everyone else's? He longed to be admired, to be complimented, and most of all, to be accepted and loved by the other forest animals. But alas, he was just the ugly little Fiasco. As the nasty comments continued, the little pheasant had had enough. He ruffled his feathers and stormed off through the trees, not caring where he ended up or what might happen to him. All he knew was that he didn't want to hear another word of ridicule. And so the little pheasant wandered and wandered until he came across a shimmering lake, hidden between some bushes. Looking down at the water, he saw a reflection of himself. Still, it was too blurry to tell if his feathers were grey or if they were just dark in the shade. Well, said a silky voice. What have we here? A little pheasant with feathers as dull as dishwater. The little pheasant whirled around to see a beautiful white swan swimming towards him. Why are you making fun of me? He asked, tears welling up in his eyes. Because it's true, she said, taking a graceful turn in the water. Your feathers are dull as dishwater, grey as a stormy sky, and lifeless as last week's lettuce. The little pheasant felt his heart sink. She was right. His feathers were dull, lifeless and grey. But why? He asked. Why can't my feathers be as beautiful as yours? The swan took pity on him and swam closer to the shore. There is a way, little pheasant, to make your feathers as beautiful as the sunset, or as brilliant as the stars, she said mysteriously. The little pheasant's eyes widened. Oh, really? How do you know the way? The swan dipped her head. If you want to become beautiful, little pheasant, you must first learn to be kind, clever, and brave. Then and only then will you discover your inner beauty. With that, the swan glided away, leaving the little pheasant to ponder her words. Kind, clever, and brave. How could being kind, clever, and brave make his feathers more beautiful? And how could he ever become those things when he was just a clumsy, awkward bird with no friends or admirers? Just then, a wise old turtle poked his head out of his shell. Why the long face, little pheasant? He asked kindly. The little pheasant poured out his heart to the old turtle, telling him about his ugly feathers and the swan's cryptic advice. The old turtle listened patiently, then said, You already have the makings of a kind, clever, and brave bird, little pheasant. It's just that you don't see it yet. Instead of worrying about your feathers, go out into the world and help others. Use your wits to solve problems, and show courage when others are afraid. Only then will you discover the true meaning of beauty. The little pheasant thought about what the turtle had said. Maybe he didn't need to change his feathers after all. Maybe he needed to change the way he looked at himself and the world around him. With newfound determination, the little pheasant set out on a journey to discover the secrets of kindness, cleverness, and bravery. First, he went to see Sammy Squirrel, who was always so mean to him. He found Sammy burying nuts and offered to help him collect more. Sammy was so surprised by the little pheasant's kindness that he stopped hoarding nuts and started sharing them with all the forest animals. Next, the little pheasant went to see Gabby Goldfinch, who used to laugh at his feathers. He heard that she was trapped in a thorny bush and used his sharp beak to pull the thorns away from her, freeing her. Gabby was so grateful for the little pheasant's help that she stopped gossiping and started singing songs of the little pheasant's bravery. Finally, the little pheasant went to see the beautiful white swan. He had remembered her cruel words and wanted to ask her if she had changed her mind about him being beautiful. He found her by the lake and said, "I've been kind to Sammy Squirrel, brave for Gabby Goldfinch, and I haven't even asked you yet. So please tell me, am I beautiful now?" The swan looked at the little pheasant and smiled. "You are more beautiful than you will ever know," she said. "Your kindness, bravery, and cleverness have made you truly beautiful." As the sun began to set, the little pheasant flew back to the whispering willow tree. The forest animals were still there, and he could hear them talking about him. "Did you hear about Sammy Squirrel? He's giving away all his nuts instead of hoarding them," they said. "And Gabby Goldfinch isn't gossiping anymore. She's too busy singing songs about the hero who freed her from the thorny bush." The little pheasant landed on a tree branch and called out, "Is that all you talk about? Don't you have anything nice to say about me?" The animals fell silent. Then they all turned to look at the little pheasant. "You saved Sammy, you freed Gabby, and you stood up to the white swan," said a blue jay. "Of course we have something nice to say about you. You're the kindest, bravest, and most clever bird in the whole forest." "No, the whole world," shouted a chipmunk. And from that day on, the little pheasant was never mocked or ridiculed again. In fact, he became the most respected and beloved member of the forest community, proving that true beauty comes from the inside out. The end. So remember, my little friends, it's not what's outside that counts. It's what's inside. A kind heart, a clever mind, and a brave spirit are the most beautiful things of all. Until next time.